You are the last dragon. Da, 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 na, na. What it do, YouTube, and welcome to Black Cinema Central, where we talk about classic black movies and why they're dope. Today is a showdown, two of honestly my favorite movies of all time. The Last Dragon versus Black Belt Jones. Battle of the black martial art male lead. Let's get it. First, let's start with The Last Dragon. Leroy Green, played by Taimak, a young martial artist living in New York City, trains tirelessly to attain the same level of mastery as the great Bruce Lee. One night, his life changes forever when he rescues television personality Laura Charles, played by Vanity, from evil businessman Eddie Arcadian, played by Chris Murney. Impressed by Leroy's bravery, Laura falls for Leroy, but to keep her safe, he will have to defeat a gang leader named Shonuff, the self-styled Shogun of Harlem. So, reasons why this movie is dope. 1, we haven't always had films where black men are kicking ass due to having practiced a martial art. And even though Taimak isn't Bruce Lee, he's like our version of Bruce Lee. And as opposed to this being pure cultural appropriation of Eastern Asian culture, we see this black boy has immersed himself in a culture that has allowed him to tap into the best version of himself through Tai Chi on his Harlem apartment roof, through teaching karate to kids in his community. But he's still made fun of because of how tapped in he is to this culture that is not urban black culture, which leads me to my next point. I also love this movie because Bruce Leroy is somewhat of an outcast compared to his brother. Again, because he's so tapped into Eastern Asian culture as opposed to hip hop and the latest trends in clothing. He's this weird black kid who likes karate and watching martial arts films with Bruce Lee in them. He's not your stereotypical black kid from Harlem. And roles like these get me excited because I can relate to that feeling. Not being into what black kids your age are into, particular clothing brands that are trending and all that shit. But that doesn't mean that what you are into is a waste of time or makes you quote unquote less black or less appreciative of being black. You're just into different shit and that's okay. I also love that we see Bruce Leroy dealing with an internal push and pull. How do I get the glow? Or how do I reach my most actualized self? How do I make my family proud? How do I defend myself in a way I won't regret knowing I have kids at the dojo looking at me for mentorship? And Laura Charles and Bruce Leroy are just the cutest couple ever. Next movie, with probably one of the most iconic opening songs ever, Black Belt Jones. The Mafia has learned of the construction of a new civic center and have bought up all the land at the intended building site except for a karate dojo owned by Pop Bird, who refuses to give up his property. The Don contacts an indebted drug dealer named Pinky, who had laundered $250,000 from the Mafia that he'd loaned to Pop Bird in order to get the dojo built. The Don orders Pinky to either get his money back or repossess the property. Pinky accidentally kills Pop during an intimidation attempt. But before Pop dies, he tells Pinky that he couldn't give them the building even if he wanted to, since it belongs not to him, but his daughter, Sydney. Reasons why this movie is dope. First, this was the first time I had ever seen a character who was a black man that owned a dojo. I just thought that was dope. You not only own your own business in the hood, but it's also a dojo. That kind of leads into my next point of why I love this movie. The story is about protecting a vital piece of this black community, this dojo, which provides a space for black kids to work on discipline, which thus keeps them away from the self-destructive activity happening in the streets. And this is something, when it comes to creating a story, you essentially want your viewers to care about this fight. You want them to care about the conflicts. You want them to care about the main characters and what this story is essentially about. Like, how can you not care about that? And the next reason why I love this movie is why everybody who loves this movie. You see beautiful black people kicking ass. Gloria Hendry was the first chocolate sister I had ever seen fight men on a screen. She showed up to Pinky's spot because she was trying to find the man that killed her daddy. And then they start calling her all types of names, like they're intimidating her. She slipped out her shoes, undid the last few buttons on her dress, and whooped their ass. How can you not be excited seeing a black woman beat up a room full of men? That's, dare I say, iconic. And then of course you have Jim Kelly with his perfect afro. Not only is he beating people up, but he's doing so in the name of justice. So when it comes down to Black Belt Jones and The Last Dragon, which one do you prefer? What do I prefer? This one is very difficult. I almost don't want to pick, but honestly, there is no Gloria Hendry character in The Last Dragon. I think Black Belt Jones wins this one because of Gloria Hendry. Y'all, the scene where Black Belt Jones is about to go on this mission or whatever to find Pinky, Sydney's ready to go. She's like, all right, let's go. Jim Kelly's like, why don't you do the dishes or something? She picks up a gun, shoots the dishes, my nigga. Shoots the dishes and says, they're done. That scene also I fucking love. I prefer Black Belt Jones. What do y'all prefer? How do y'all feel about, can we talk about Gloria Hendry? How is she? I don't even know if she's alive. She like low-key made that movie. Jim Kelly, of course, sure. But Gloria Hendry, iconic.